The Captain's Crew, sail in yellow-carpeted seas. Level 422, to be at sea. Survival difficulty. Class 2, moderately safe, secure, low entity count. Image caption, level 422 in the evening, as taken from a raft. Description, level 422, also known as to be at sea, is a seemingly infinite ocean with varying depths, salinities, and weather. The entirety of the known ocean has been proven to consist of basic H2O and fluctuating salinities, with small traces of glucose recently discovered in the northernmost area of currently mapped waters. The recorded surface size of the ocean at the time of documentation is 6,409 square miles, save for island stalkers, footnote, see entities, and footnote, and wooden structures, footnote, see bases, outposts, and communities, and footnote. Wanderers reside on. The ocean is barren of any significant structures or locations. Level 422 has an 18-hour day-night cycle, with 10 hours of daylight and 8 hours of dark. While a sun and moon are present on level 422, as well as stars and occasionally meteor showers, any attempts to see where these celestial bodies travel when unseen have all failed, and their position when unseen remains unknown. Weather on level 422 is generally very fluctuant, as the infinite sky of the level allows light rain, wind, and thunderstorms to take place. The most commonly experienced weather on level 422 is bright sunshine. The average temperature on the level is 76 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius, with the lowest recorded temperature being 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius, and the highest being 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 degrees Celsius. The second most common weather event to take place on level 422 is light rainstorms. These rain showers are typically very gentle and short, but thunderstorms can have wind speeds up to 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour. While thunderstorms are much less common than gentle showers, thunderstorms are not rare occurrences. On a regular day, wind speed averages 7 miles per hour, 11 kilometers per hour, and does not change much. If the wind appears to halt entirely, this may be a signal that a thunderstorm is approaching. The waters of level 422 have varying temperatures, depths, salinities, and colors, depending on which section of the known ocean one is present in. The 4 primary ocean sections are as follows. Shallow waters. The shallow waters, which cover about 26% of the discovered ocean, are generally the calmest and most consistent section of the sea. The water temperature stays at a constant 74 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 23.3 to 26.1 degrees Celsius, providing perfect temperatures for fishing and swimming. These waters are primarily freshwater. Footnote, although not recommended, this water is safe to drink in most scenarios. End footnote. Having deficient salinity levels, due to the low salinity and depth, the waters are known to be crystal clear and teal. The water in these areas ranges from nearly 13 feet, about 4 meters, to 1 foot, 30 centimeters, deep, occasionally reaching surface level and forming small sandbars. The bottoms of these areas are very sandy, with little to no rocks. Seaweed and other ocean-dwelling plants are also very common here. Weather in the shallow waters is very mild, with sunshine and short-lived gentle rain showers being frequently experienced. More severe weather, such as thunderstorms or high-speed winds, are much more uncommon. Middle waters. Image caption, the middle waters during the day. The middle waters, occupying 29% of the ocean, is the most sought-after section of level 422. The water temperature in the middle waters ranges from 68 to 58 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 to 14.4 degrees Celsius, bearing the perfect temperature to house many different entities. The middle waters are between 30 to 70 feet, 9.1 to 21 meters, deep, with a much more blue and grayish hue, causing it to be slightly more difficult to see into the water than into the shallow waters. Along with this, the salinity levels are slightly higher than the shallow waters, and it is unrecommended that one drink the water unless in a dire scenario. Fresh water is still abundant, but much less so than in the shallow waters. The ocean floor is comprised mostly of thick gray-colored clay, with darker sand and some stones made of unidentified minerals. Weather in the middle waters is the most fluctuant of the 4 sections, bearing sun, showers, and storms all equally. Wind speeds are much higher than those of the shallow waters, being able to sufficiently move sailboats and other rafts at a minor rate. Deep waters. The deep waters, making up around 32% of level 422, is the most commonly encountered section of the sea, being home to the most diversity for weather, entities, and animals. The deep water's temperature is much cooler than the rest of the ocean, staying between 54 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 to 7.2 degrees Celsius, with high salinity levels making the water unsafe to consume. The water in this section is strictly salt water. The depths in the deep waters are very fluctuant, with the most shallow areas being 116 feet, 35.3 meters, deep, and the lowest recorded areas being 426 feet, 129.8 meters, deep. While this is the deepest recorded depth, it is unknown how deep the ocean actually is at its lowest. The seafloor in this section is mostly comprised of stone and sand, with the occasional rock pillar jutting out of the floor. Weather in the deep waters varies greatly, with no most common state. Rain, storms, and sun are all equally experienced, but the severity of events such as thunderstorms and rain showers is generally much more intense than in the aforementioned sections of level 422. Rough waters. Image caption: rough waters in the midst of a storm. The rough waters, making up only 11% of the known sea, is the least common as well as the most dangerous area of level 422. The depth of the rough waters is on the more shallow side, being most comparable to the shallow waters, with depths between 25 to 7 feet, 7.6 to 2.1 meters. The water temperature is the lowest of all the sections, being 48 degrees Fahrenheit, 8.8 degrees Celsius, at the highest, and 37 degrees Fahrenheit, 2.7 degrees Celsius, at the lowest. The rough waters are entirely comprised of fresh water, bearing a dark gray-blue hue, making the water difficult to see through. The shallow seafloor is entirely constructed of jagged stone and covered in oysters, making travel under the water extremely unrecommended. Weather in the rough waters is rain-dominant, with rain, thunderstorms, and dark clouds being the most common. Clear skies are rare, but not impossible, only appearing for an average of 2 to 3 hours of the 18-hour day-night cycle. Wind speeds are also much higher than in any other section, clocking in at 30 to 55 miles per hour, 48.2 to 88.5 kilometers per hour, causing massive waves to move at destructive speeds. Entities/animals. Level 422 is home to a variety of unique entities, the following being the most common: willow waves, coconut snares, Pyrochelicera, oxids, an aquatic variant of death rats, and quote-unquote island stalkers. Level 422 is also home to a few species of front rooms animals, such as tiger sharks, bluefin tuna, Chesapeake blue crab, bluegill, spotted sea trout, and common gull. Entities and animals by section: shallow waters, coconut snares, oxids, death rats, bluegill, common gull, spotted sea trout, Chesapeake blue crab. Middle waters: Chesapeake blue crab, bluegill, spotted sea trout, Pyrochelicera, tiger sharks, common gull. Deep waters: tiger sharks, bluefin tuna, willow waves, common gull. Rough waters: tiger sharks, Pyrochelicera, bluegill, willow waves, death rats. Island stalkers. Image caption: an island stalker resurfacing in the middle waters. Island stalkers are an entity native to level 422, resembling large, lush, green islands. The backs of island stalkers are covered in trees, grasses, fruits, bushes, and rocks. The terrain on the back of island stalkers usually consists of a large hill or two, and possibly a plain, which are all covered in agrugua trees and large rocks. The grass on an island stalker is very lush and soft, similar to fur, with a consistent pure green texture that carries over to the bushes and trees. Island stalkers also bear 4 limbs, approximately 264 feet, 76 meters, long, and 20 feet, 6 meters, wide, consisting of moss, rocks, and dirt. These entities all have large, house-sized heads attached to one end of the island stalker. These heads are made of pure stone and clay, with one gaping mouth lacking any teeth at the front, and 2 doorframe-sized eyes. The entities are most commonly 492 to 656 feet, 150 to 200 meters, long, from the head to the back. At a distance, these entities appear to be regular islands. The entities are safe to board when you are required to get to solid land or to gather supplies, but should be avoided otherwise, as their unpredictable habit to dive under the water and resurface can cause much commotion, commonly resulting in injuries due to the waves caused by this event and/or the sudden shifting of movement throwing wanderers off their feet. As observed by Meg Outpost Hale Kapu, island stalkers typically consume tiger sharks, tuna, and Pyrochelicera for nutrients, those creatures being the largest in the level. Typically, island stalkers are found more commonly in the middle and deep waters, as the shallow waters expose the entity's limbs and head. But this is not unheard of. Island stalkers residing in the shallow waters are also much more lush and healthier than those found in other sections. Bases, outposts, and communities. Meg Outpost Hale Kapu. Image caption: Meg Outpost Hale Kapu drifting through the shallow waters. Meg Outpost Hale Kapu, Hawaiian for sanctuary, was founded by the Meg on 10/13/2020 by researchers Alexis Rodriguez and John Manley after constructing a series of rafts with 6 other wanderers stranded on an island stalker. The outpost consists of 21 large wooden rafts built from agrugua tree logs and tied to one another with rope. These rafts all have small dwellings built of logs, branches, and metal scraps, with makeshift bunk beds and hammocks for wanderers who come across the fort. There are 3 main sails, not featured in the picture, used to steer the rafts, manned by Meg members and other wanderers. The outpost tends to stay in the shallow and middle waters for wanderers' convenience, but, due to unpredictable weather, this is not promised. Hale Kapu was built with the intention of rescuing wanderers trapped at sea, currently being home to 150 humans. Sandbar City. While not a true city, Sandbar City is a small village currently populated by 223 wanderers located on the largest known sandbar in the shallow waters. This village has no leader and is instead a rudimentary socialist society, helping each other fish, build homes, and leave the level. Sandbar City consists of over 75 small huts and cabins, built out of wood and clay, and also features one of the level's only exits, that being a 3-foot by 3-foot, 1 meter by 1 meter, hole leading out of the level. The community is always friendly, and, unlike the newer outpost Hale Kapu, Sandbar City is theorized to have been established almost 70 years ago. Captain's Craft. Captain's Craft is a small collection of rafts and boats controlled and constructed by the captain's crew. There are around 20 members of this establishment of captain's crew, having been built in early 2022, but they are already a fully built community. Captain's Craft is led by Captain's Crew member Alvin Davies, who has led the group to lead a conservative and grateful lifestyle. They are open to trading and newcomers, but do not tolerate jerkish behavior. This base is difficult to come across due to the lack of sails and oars, which lets the structure move freely in any direction. Rose's Garden. This small community of only 15 to 25 people resides on the back of a deceased island stalker, who had been named Rose by wanderers who took shelter on the creature when its head was unfortunately struck by lightning during a thunderstorm. The wanderers living at Rose's Garden have constructed around 7 stable homes on Rose, as well as 2 fishing docks, and a quaint chapel at the top of a hill where they host religious ceremonies every 7 days. As there is no control over the direction of island stalker floats, it is difficult to locate this outpost, but if found, the residents are always more than happy to accept new wanderers with open arms. While there are certainly many more outposts located on level 422, these rafts are either too small to mention or are highly insignificant, being home to only a wanderer or 2. Entrances and exits. Entrances. Swimming far enough into the ocean on level 48, the Sunset Beach. Entering a ship on level 134, Tales of the Sea, has a low chance of no-clipping wanderers into the middle water's seafloor. No-clipping into a tree on level 149, the Coconut Isles, may send one to an island stalker. Diving into the ocean on level 436, Salvaged Seaboard, may transport one to level 422. No-clipping into a puddle on level 710, Ring and Ruins, will take one to the rough waters. Exits. It is possible to find level 261, the platform, which will help one exit the level. Diving down in the deep waters may send one to level 291, Lost at Sea. Entering the hole at Sandbar City will send wanderers to the desert of level 628, the island. Being knocked unconscious in the shallow waters may cause one to wake up in a puddle on level 39, Enchanted Forest. Falling asleep in the water has a very low possibility to send one to any water-based level.